I had this all... Son of a... Hold on. God damn it. Ah! I definitely need a new tripod. I mean, technically, I don't have a tripod anymore. I have a lot of tripod pieces that happen to fit together, but I don't actually have a tripod right now. And I set the camera up, but then as soon as I turned it on, things started falling apart. That's just the story of my life, it feels like sometimes. You know what I'm realizing, though? I'm starting to think that therapy might be working. And honestly, that upsets me a little bit, because I don't like being proven wrong. And I was very skeptical about how well this whole online therapy thing would do. But, I mean, I think at the end of the day, when it comes to mental health, it all starts with... I really gotta put these down. I'm sorry. Those are making too much noise. At the end of the day, when it comes to... You know what? I forgot why I grabbed them in the first place. Just give me 2 seconds. Okay. At the end of the day... Like, I was skeptical about online counseling at first, but at the end of the day, mental health, it still comes down to how much effort you're willing to give to get better. Because they can tell you what's wrong and how to fix it, but, like, you still have to put that work in. And looking at myself now, compared to how I was back in January, December, like, I'm noticing a bigger difference. Like, compared to yesterday or last week, I don't feel any different. I still feel like Nathan, but somehow, like, I'm noticing I'm different. Like, right now, it's restaurant week. It's 12:30. I just got home. It was only a 9-hour shift. Woo! Thank God, that's all. But it was an exhausting 9-hour shift, and I am completely numb from below the waist. I have to pee, but I'm just gonna hold it till tomorrow morning. And there's a train going by. But you know what? I'm kind of happy right now. It's weird to say that. I'm not used to feeling positive emotions. Which my therapist told me that, you know, there's a way to program your brain. And me, I've learned, you know, years of life have taught me to just expect horrible shit. And now my brain just thinks horrible is normal. And that learning, like, training it to think happier, to think about to focus on happy things. And I thought it was bullshit when I first started doing this, because he had me do this happy diary thing. And when it started out, it's like it would take a lot of effort to find like 2 or 3 positive things that I actually enjoyed about my day. But nowadays, like, if I'm writing down every single thing I'm happy about, like, I can get up to 20, like, no problem. Just all the little moments of joy here and there, like hearing a song I like, or telling a joke that someone laughed, that little bullshit like that. And I don't think anything about my life has really changed. It's just, it's easier to see the happy. No, I'm able to experience it better and deeper. You know, and I think, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say I'm completely done with therapy, but, like, I definitely have felt a change. I haven't really felt it, but I've noticed it compared to, like, last year's Nathan. Like, oh, dear God, I think... The back pain just hit. I think my adrenaline is wearing off. And, oh my God, everything hurts. Fuck! I forgot to get my water bottle. It's over there in the fridge. Jesus Christ, what do I do? This is Sophie's choice. You know what? If I get up, I think some adrenaline might start flowing again, and it could actually help lessen the pain. It doesn't make any scientific sense, but let's try it. Nope, still hurts. Jesus Christ. That hurts so much more than I thought it would. But see, that's the thing. Different thoughts are going in my head. I'm making different choices now. Like, it's easier to not only find little moments of happy in my daily life, but it's also easier to make the decisions that lead to happiness. Because, like, I think an earlier version of me definitely would have been like, fuck that water bottle, I don't need it. I'm just going to go to bed and not film anything today. But today's me was like, it's a short trip, let's do it. Oh, God, no, stop. Oh, water. Go. Oh, that feels good. Speaking of feeling good, let's talk about sex toys. I bought a love doll, and I've actually been thinking about it for months now, and like, there's a lot of different kinds. Some of them are hundreds of dollars, some of them thousands, and I'm like, I ain't gonna pay $3,000 for something unless I know for sure I'm keeping it for life. But like, there's this one like $40 one that I've looked in, and I'm just like, I think the main thing reason I haven't done it is because, like, I definitely worry about sticking my dick in vinyl. I don't know if that would actually feel good. But, and plus the reviews are so mixed. I feel like if you look through every single review, it literally covers the entire spectrum. From do not spend any money on this, definitely not worth it, to best thing ever, go buy it. And I'm like, I think at the end of the day, maybe it comes down to, you get what you pay for. It's not the highest quality, but it works well enough for what you need to do, kind of thing. Yeah, it should be here next week, so not the next video, but the one after that, should be able to give you some sort of review. But yeah, I figure, like, there was a sale. It was like shipping. It was like shipping is standard shipping only $2. It's like, so I saved $6 there, not to mention I think 33% off one item. So an item that by itself would have been $45 plus taxes and shipping and stuff, getting close to $60, and I only paid $35 for it. So that's nearly half off. Nearly half off the total price. So I'm like, feels like a good deal. Fuck it, let's do this. And also, speaking of, I started using DoorDash, which I've been so hesitant to do any of these food delivery services because I'm lazy. I am lazy as fuck. And like, these things would enable me to be even lazier. And that is, I don't even know how that's possible some days. Because, like, there are times when literally, like, I need to pee, I need to take a shit, I need to do a lot of things, but fuck it, I don't feel like standing up, so let's put it off for another few hours. Like, I have to pee, but I don't want to, but it's starting to hurt. I don't know if I can hold it in any longer. Fuck it, I'm just gonna fall asleep and hope I don't pee myself while I'm out. And so, like, one of the only reasons I've managed to stay in half decent shape, like, I'm not an athlete by any means, definitely wouldn't be a bodybuilder, but, like, technically still, I'm close to 300 pounds, I'm 280, but there are muscle here. At least below the waist, I've only got like 3% body fat. My calves could slice apples. These things are tight. But, like, overall, like, the stomach's the biggest issue. And I actually have started doing, like, crunches and, like, those bicycle leg thingies, you know, and, like, different floor exercises I can do at night before bed. Just do, like, 5 of each. starting slow, just try to get my body used to doing this. And I feel the burn. I feel the burn. But I've only felt the burn like 2 or 3 times in the past 2 weeks. So, like, the first step is getting myself to actually do it consistently, and then we'll see. Then once 5 becomes easy, bump it up to 10, and just keep going until the 6-pack shows up. If I last that long, I have no idea if the I have no idea if I'll have the dedication to go through with that. But like, you got to start somewhere. So we're starting with just like, hey, let's try to do the little bit of these before we go to bed. See if we can at least like tone it down a little bit, because I a lot of my shirts just don't fit over my stomach anymore. So I'm gonna try to get rid of it with just some at-home exercises, just a little bit every day. Trying to make healthier choices, not stuff my face full of junk food quite as much. I mean, I have such a sweet tooth, I'm never going to be able to not eat any candy at all. That's just impossible. Like, I'll be 105, got no feet because I lost them both to the diabetes. And you know what? I ain't going to have no teeth, but fuck it. Still, just give me a goddamn Butterfinger. I don't know, man. It's just something within you. Like I said, some of us are just born with certain preferences. Nah, I don't know there's a specific word I'm looking for, but yes. Like some things about us are just predetermined. Like, I've got a huge sweet tooth, I do. Creativity. That's the other thing. Something I didn't even realize that I was creative. It was just something I did. But having conversations with other people, it's like, when I was a kid, something I've always done, any TV show I watched, I would add myself as a character. And it's like the hardest part was, finding ways that my character can affect the story without actually changing it, which is just expert level. Cause like, I never realized that there's a lot of creativity that just comes naturally for me. That a lot of people, I tell them these things and they're like, dude, I could never pull that off. And I'm like, I did it when I was 5. Like, it's just a thing I did for fun. I never once thought of it as like working out the brain. Cause like, there are some people that they say like, oh, when you get to that level of, like, there's something so amazing when you get to that level of writing that you can just, close your eyes and suddenly you're in the world of your book, and this character, you're just like watching the characters live their lives. And I'm like, that's what I've always done. Like, I didn't know that was a level that people have to work to get to. Because a ton of my stories, I'm not going to lie and say every single one, but yeah, there are so many stories that I have written where, like, 100% it just feels like I'm transported to an alternate universe, and I'm just watching these people live their lives. And then I come back and just write down what I saw. It's felt like that for many of my favorite stories, honestly. Because there's this new story I'm working on, which is about high schoolers dealing with issue identities, focusing mainly on sexuality. And I don't mean like, I don't want there to be any titties in this or anything like that. No boobs, no vagina, no penises. Like, because I want it to be, it won't ever be like a Disney Nickelodeon show, but I do want it to be widely accessible I want the people who are actually going through this shit right now to be able to see it. Like, if I could give a preference, I'd say, like, I'd want it to be like South of Nowhere for the new generation. And like, I was writing that story, and then one of the characters was like struggling with, like, because one of the main things that a good story that I love when it comes to high school, which I hated this when I went through it with high school, but it's such a common theme that you can find in just about any high schooler in America, that struggle between being who you want to be and being who you feel like you should be. Like, and there was this one scene that I was writing where I accidentally wrote something so fucking inspirational, and I'm like, huh, where the hell did that come from? Because, like, I literally could have used that advice 5 fucking years ago, man. I could have used that advice 20 years ago, let's be real. Yeah, I'm working on a couple new stories. I've got, one of them is a teen drama that's actually kind of 4 different stories rolled into one. Because the original story was just, because the original story was actually, I'm a little ashamed to admit this. It's one of my secret passions that I've never indulged, divulged, that I indulge in. There's a fan fiction there's an iCarly fan fiction that I wrote in 2009. That's right, I've written fan fiction, sue me. But yeah, there's an iCarly fan fiction that I wrote like in 2009. Maybe even sooner. It was when I was living in Wisconsin, so somewhere most likely 2008, 2009. But yeah, I was watching iCarly and I had a thought, which was basically just, I'd like to see, like, I wonder how long it'll take before we see like gay teenagers as main characters on one of these shows, which we finally did have with Andy Mack. And so there's been some progress 10 years after I had that first idea, but still. And so, like, I originally wrote that show, but I wrote that as just like for fun kind of thing. Then years later, looked at it and thought, I have something heating up in the oven. Let me just grab it real quick. Long story short, I'm eating chili dogs before I go to bed. Anyways, so yeah, I wrote that story just for fun, and then years later looked at it and I was like, I think this is a story that maybe the world kind of needs a little bit. And I started kind of trying to turn it into its own little self-sustaining universe, and I never really, well, maybe not universe, but like its own self-sustaining show. Didn't really get that far. But then recently, it was because, I looked at Euphoria. I honestly don't like that show. I saw the first 2 episodes, and I will not say it's a bad show. It's very well acted. I think, we really get drawn into that world. It's visually pleasing, very well directed, great editing. It's just, I don't like it. Like, I don't enjoy watching it. So I have no plans to ever look at it again. That being said, like, it's the saddest part about that show is that there are a lot of people who are really going through some of that shit right now. And, that makes me really sad. It does, but I'm also kind of happy that I was a loser in high school and didn't have a life. Didn't have to go through any of it. Because me, after school was over, hell, if I went to school at all, like, the rest of my time, majority was just spent at home playing video games or watching porn. And then sometimes going to a friend's house to, like, play video games or basketball or something, or watch TV because they had cable and I didn't. But majority of the time I was at home just playing video games or writing. But anyways, that kind of inspired me to kind of rethink my show a little. And one thing I've discovered over these last couple of weeks with the couple of different stories I'm working on, like I can't write PG. I mean, once again, we're going to avoid. There will be no nudity at all. Not even. I mean, how do you define partial nudity? Because no, it's teenagers. It's a show about teenagers for teenagers. So I want to avoid doing too much, but I can't guarantee there won't be underwear shots every now and then. So like that. So once again, like I want to know the exact definition of partial nudity because to me, girl walking around in her underwear doesn't count as nudity. But to a lot of parents out there, like yo, she might as well like oh she walks outside in a bikini. She might as well just be giving someone a blowjob. So like I said, I want to know the precise definition of it. But like I said, it is something that it's mostly because I'm conflicted because I don't want to avoid the subject because let's be honest, teenagers are having sex. We can try to pretend all we want that they're not, but it's happening. And so like I want it to be realistic and it's something that needs to be not it talked about. But I don't want there to be any mistake, because that's not what this show is. This show is entirely about identity and learning who you are and learning to accept yourself for who you are. A struggle that a lot of us have went through, I'm sure. So, I don't want people to be so distracted by the nudity that they lose touch of what the show is supposed to be. So it's one of those fine lines where, I want to be realistic and at least touch on some of these subjects like sex and drugs and all the other shit. But at the same time, also knowing, once again, I wanted the people who are going through it right now to still be able to watch it. Walking that fine line somewhere between Nickelodeon and HBO. And I'm actually, that's something I've done with a couple of my stories now. When I go back and look at them, I realize, I'm actually combining this story with two other high school stories that I wrote that ended up, it's not even that I hated them, I loved them, but somewhere along the way they no longer felt right, and so I stopped working on them. And so now I'm taking elements from those shows and adding them to this one, and this show is turning into something so fantastic. And I'm also working on a Power Rangers show, which it's kind of been in the works my whole life. Like I said, when I was a kid, everything I watched, I came up with my own things. So Power Rangers, I had this whole thing where he was the character was Zach's younger brother, and he was 12 or 13 in season 1. And Zach wasn't supposed to tell, but he might have accidentally let it slip. And then one day the Rangers get trapped in an alternate dimension. And so now, Zach has to go in and save them, pull them back out. But if he does, the monster can just close the door behind them. So someone needs to stay out and fight the monster while Zach goes and saves the other Rangers. So he recruits his little brother, who gets a temporary power coin, the orange power coin for the Velociraptor. So it's Velociraptor! And now he looks just like Jason, except orange. That's pretty much it. He looks just like Jason, but orange and a little shorter. And in season 2, it was Velociraptor, Chimera, Thunder's power! And then when they went with the movie and the 3rd season, he was a bull. And his Zord has always just been like accessories, have extra weapons or sometimes armor. And then with Zeo and Turbo, he was silver. And in Turbo, when Tommy and all the others left, he took over as the main ranger. Because fuck it, it's my fantasy, damn it. I mean, I've been there 5 damn years. I get to be the leader, even if I'm not wearing red. And then they went into space. He followed them and was the Silver Ranger. Decided to leave, come back to Earth, and ended up making a new team where he was the Red Ranger. So they got to protect Earth while those guys were traveling around the universe looking for Zordon. And so that's where I started. You know, that team where he was the Red Ranger, I just like deleted his history and kind of turned him basically into myself. Like, I made him like a 16-year-old who like grew up loving Power Rangers, idolizing them, took martial arts lessons just to be like them and stuff. And then one day an opportunity presents itself for him to be a ranger. And so he decides to start his own team. And it's a very complicated thing because it exists in our world, and if I had my way, I'd have like cameos by all the original Rangers. That being said, I know that there's a lot of like issues when it comes to like, source material. Most Ranger stuff is like based off of Japan stuff. And honestly, it might not be able to be like a half-hour kids comedy. It might have to be like an hour-long teen drama type of thing. Because like I've done a lot of things different. Like there are 2 entire seasons where they don't have Zords at all, because it just felt to me like it made no sense for them to actually have a Zord. And then there's only, like, because I have 9 seasons, and there's only 2 of them where the entire team is completely assembled at the end of episode 1. The rest of them, it's at least like 4 or 5 episodes. And like you'll have an episode each of just finding out how each individual becomes a ranger. Because I just don't like the whole bullshit about, we just randomly grabbed these 5 kids who all happen to be friends and all happen to be martial artists, and we hope that they make good superheroes. I mean, that's just me, though. So it's a more realistic look at it, and, even if I can't get, like, the Power Ranger name, hopefully we can just change a few details and it goes from being a ripoff to inspired by. Like, legally speaking, there is a difference, and I'm going to hire a good lawyer to tell me that difference. But yeah, those are the things I've been working on lately. Mostly that one TV show about the high schoolers, and then just every now and then picking at the Power Rangers things. I'm supposed to be working on my book, but like I took some time to read through it. There were a few editing mistakes here and there, but for the most part, shit's done, man. It's Gucci. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to take time to work on some of these stories before shit got, like, too hot and heavy there. I mean, definitely no guarantee that... Definitely no guarantee that... Definitely no guarantee that... I'm sorry, I keep getting... Definitely no guarantee that I'll ever end up on a bestseller list or anything. But, like, I'd still rather go ahead, get some of the other... do some of this other fun stuff, take a break from that. And then after Restaurant Week, put the book out on the hope that it gets big. Don't worry, subscribers, you will definitely be notified. So you can go add to my book sales. Go buy a bunch and give them to your best friends and then demand that they pay you back. You know what? Do me a favor, everyone start a neighborhood book club so that you can force them to buy my book. Feeling tired. I'm sure there's. I think I've taken enough of your time. I'm sure there's other stuff I wanted to talk about that I probably wrote down, but it's not as much. I know one of them was to complain about a coworker, but I kind of just don't care as much. It does bother me walking with her 'cause there are some new people. We'll call one of them Andrew, and we'll call the other one Trevor. And let's just say Andrew, one of the worst coworkers ever, dumb, lazy, and self-centered, much like someone else that used to work there. And now there's just, it's never good when you're the only one in a category with Jose. Name that I haven't had to say in a while, but there are a couple of things that Andrew does that, like, literally Jose is the only human being that has ever done this. The only other one. And it's not good that you are in a category with him, Andrew. It's really not. And then it's not good that Andrew is doing some things that no one has ever done that then Trevor copies. Because Trevor, when you're in the only category with someone, when you're the only one in a category with someone who is the only one in the category with Jose, then guess what? You're pissing me off. Anyways, yeah, because, like, one thing, Andrew, like, we have a balcony and we have, like, cobwebs sometimes show up on, like, the railing, and, like, they're supposed to take a rag and just, like, dust it. For some reason, Andrew didn't feel like doing that, started just, like, taking the broom and just knocking the spider webs off. And for some reason, Trevor, everyone else sees it and laughs at Andrew, but Trevor saw it and was like, "Oh my God, you're blowing my mind, that's the best idea ever." And so Trevor started doing that and just completely fucked up the broom. Also, what the fuck's the deal with Trevor? Because Trevor's been showing up literally every single day. I don't even know if Trevor's on this fucking schedule. I think Trevor just keeps showing up every single day, hoping that no one sends her home. Which, no, is definitely bullshit. Because that's one thing that I hated when I was new, but love now that I've been there 5 years. Because this restaurant's seniority used to mean everything. You know, the people who have been there longest and have already proven themselves. When you're a brand new person, if we're not busy, you'll get 2 nights a month. Whereas the people who have been here and proven themselves, they're the ones getting scheduled every single day. And so, for that reason alone, just the mere fact that it breaks, 5 years of tradition that I have seen firsthand, I hate the fact that Trevor is there every single fucking day. Because Trevor has not earned those paychecks. Not in my opinion. Not when you're in the same category as someone who was alone in the same category with Jose. But whatever. Also, my boss, like the sous chef, kind of an idiot. Because this is the second time in the past 2 weeks that he's yelled at me about, "Oh, don't slam the plates down." And both times I think I deserve a medal for not, giving him some sort of smart-ass remark. Because, like, the first time he said it last week, I just said, "Yes, sir." Actually, no, first I ignored him, and then he said, "Hey, you got it?" And I'm like, "Yes, sir." And I wanted to be as sarcastic, like, "Sir, yes, sir!" "Oh, yes, sir, master. I understand, master." But instead I was like, yes, sir. And I think I deserve a fucking reward for that, because the first thought in my head was to tell him, technically I'm not slamming, because slamming involves, like, thrusting in a downward motion, and the word slam the word slam usually emphasizes just an intense amount of pressure. I'm not slamming, I'm just dropping. And also it's something that, like, he only called me out because I think he was upset. He was having a bad day, and I think he was just chewing everyone out, because the whole mood in that restaurant just went down. And then yesterday called me out. No, was it today? It was today or yesterday. No, it was yesterday. But, we had a buyout, 40 people, ton of plates coming through. And at one point in time, I'm putting them up, right? But, like, we've got them on the shelf, and, like, they've got all this other stuff spread out. I have nowhere to, like, put the bus. I can't put the bus tub down to put the plates up. So, like, I'm holding the bus tub in one hand, unloading with the other, and it slips. It slips out of my hand, and then he's like, "Hey! Stop slamming plates!" And I wanted to just go on a rampage, like the most sarcastic rampage I could. Like, yes, because I'm doing it on purpose just to piss you off. I live my entire life just finding different ways to annoy the hell out of you. Because I'm a fucking robot who's never made a mistake in his life. I've never accidentally just let something slip out of my hands. No! Every single thing I do is calculated. And I do it deliberately just to piss you off. Because once again, I am a robot who has never made a single mistake in my fucking life. And you know what? I don't believe in accidents. They're a myth. Accidents don't exist. It was something invented by Hitler so that people wouldn't get mad at him for the whole Holocaust thing. The word accident has never actually existed in any dictionary ever. Well, thankfully, all I said was sorry, and then that was the end of it. Like I said, it slipped out of my hand once. And you're just gonna chew me out for it. Fuck you, asshole. You know how much better the restaurant would be without you here? Ugh. But yeah, I think everyone on this planet has had at least one boss / supervisor that they couldn't stand. I won't say he's the worst I've ever had, but it's like, yeah, don't even try to take your frustrations out on me just because you're having a bad day. Because I don't fucking play that game. Damn, how long have I been talking? I feel like this is getting close to an hour, maybe. It's at least 40 minutes, because I remember looking at the clock and saying, like, 12:30 something. So, you know what? I'm going to go ahead, just close this out with saying for this week, I'm listening to Pharrell. And I'm not talking about new Pharrell. I'm talking about, like, old school Pharrell. Because a lot of new Pharrell pissed me off. Like, had that happy bullshit, I never liked that. Like, it was annoying the first time I heard it, but especially, like, as it kept growing bigger and suddenly everyone loves it, I'm like, what the hell? Like, this isn't the Pharrell I know. Like, first of all, I like the soundtrack to Despicable Me 1 much better than Despicable Me 2. I mean, have you heard Despicable Me? Like, the song that Pharrell did? I'm having a bad, bad day. It's about time that I get my way. Steamrolling whatever I see. Despicable Me. I'm having a bad, bad day. If you take it personal, that's okay. Watch, this is so fun to see. Despicable Me. That song was bumping, G. But not to mention, like, I've been a fan of Pharrell since the early 2000s. Carly, were you even born in the year 2000? Were you even alive? But, yeah, because, like, old school Pharrell, because he started out as part of a producing group called the Neptunes. And then, like, when he started making music, he was known as, like, Pharrell of the Neptunes. And now, all these years later, he just suddenly blows up with that one damn song, and now everyone's like, "Oh yeah, Pharrell!" And I'm like, dude, I've been bumping this dude since I was in middle school, man. I'm talking about, like, frontin'. I'm ready to get it on. Never mind if I'm showing off. I was just frontin'. You know I want you, babe. You know, Rockstar. Damn, Rockstar my shit, man. I was listening to that today for the first time in years. Dude, NERD was the shit back in the day. You can't be me, I'm a rock star. I'm momming on the top of a cop car. I'm a rebel and my 4-4 pops hard. It's almost over now, almost over now. I guess you ain't heard that we swallow guys, and it's too damn late to apologize. When you see the metal, when you see the sky, it's almost over now, almost over now. This thing's almost empty, so I've been here too long. I'm gonna go ahead and eat my chili dogs, because they're sitting over there warm. And then I'm gonna eat some barbecue chips. I'm gonna be eating, and then I'm gonna have a healthy apple. And I'm gonna do all that while I'm watching some YouTube videos. And I'm probably just gonna pass out on my couch. And I think I mentioned DoorDash. I didn't go heavy into it, did I? But yeah, it's one of those things that I was so scared to start it because I am lazy. And like I don't want to have to exercise. And I know that having to actually walk to pick up the food is the only thing that keeps me, not only does it keep my wallet, protect it, but it also keeps me, I'm not gaining that weight in the first place because I'm not eating as much junk food. But also, even when I do end up going, like I'm walking it off before I put it in my mouth, because it's like half-hour walk to get there, then half-hour walk back before I even eat it. I told you, man, my legs, these calves can slice apples. These calves gotta carry 280 fucking pounds every single goddamn day. And I get at least an hour of walking at least every 6 days a week. Like I said, I may not be, I may not be a fitness model or anything, but I'm healthy. Okay, I'm healthy enough. I'm above average for an American, goddammit. You should see all these fat asses around here. But, oh shit, I keep getting distracted. But yeah, I tried DoorDash and I got there's this Italian place that's actually, a few blocks from where I work. And it's I think it was free delivery for first 30 days, so I feel like I'm gonna have to try it. Because last week I just needed meat. I just desperately needed meat. I didn't want to cook anything. I don't have a ton of meat in my house, so I ordered a taurine trio from this Italian place. It was Alfredo chicken. It was Alfredo with lasagna and something else. It was like I said, it was a taurine trio. Oh, there was also this wedding soup, which I've never tried before. I looked at it, I was like, ew, that's weird. I don't know if I want that, but it's delicious. Once I put it in my mouth, it was oh my god, all of it, all of it, all of it. I wish I could remember the restaurant. I don't know. I almost ordered IHOP, and I think I might end up doing that this week just because I have literally not gotten that picture out of my head of the strawberry banana French toast since I looked at it. Cause I wanted to order Red Lobster, but I'm out of the service area. Cause I almost ordered it with my grandmother. Cause she's the one who turned me on to this shit. She started using it just cause, she's in her 70s. She's got arthritis and the bad back, bad hips. So for her getting up to just just walking to throw out the trash or just walking to get a letter from the mail, that's already a lot of effort for her. And the older she gets, the less she wants to cook, so she's just gotten in the habit. Plus, she has to spend money. It's this weird thing, because she's getting some sort of retirement benefit thingy. But she has to spend it all every month, or they'll stop sending it her. They'll cut how much they send it. It's a stupid thing. I don't know. So it's weird to say, but yeah, she and I are in the same boat where it's we don't know how to spend money. Cause like she grew up in a family with like 8 brothers and sisters. She never knew what the fuck money was until she got her first job. And like me too, man. Like I went from earning $8 an hour and just begging for hours to now like I'm making $11 an hour, and like there are times when I am spending so wastefully and I hate myself for it. But then I review my budget at the end of the month and I'm still a couple hundred under, and I'm like, how the fuck is that possible? Do you know how much money I've wasted? It's not happening right now just because, I've added some additional expenses that are eating up like half my budget alone just because I'm doing better help, and that's costing hundreds, and that's even with, because even with the financial aid, which I technically just barely qualify for, and it's not a huge chunk, it's a small chunk, but yeah, still, I'm saving some money on that. And actually, damn, I wish because it says how much money do you make a month, I'll always just put what I earned last month. And then but like last time I did it, it was like, oh, you don't have to reapply till September. But if I had done what I earned in July, July was a bad month. I think I only got like $1,000 all of July. Like what the restaurant's been struggling, because, did I tell you we stopped doing lunch? Because when we were doing lunches, I started going in earlier, but then I still had so much work to do, I'd end up staying later. And so I was earning like $1,800 a month. But now, I'm having months like July where I only earned $1,000. And thankfully it is restaurant week, so I should be back up to like $1,400 is usually the minimum. I think this July is the first time I've ever gotten less than $1,400. But anyways, I need to turn this damn camera off. I've been talking way too long. So yeah, go listen to some of that old school Pharrell if you ain't heard of him yet. That's the good shit, man. Also, when the Love Doll shows up, I'll give a quickie review. That's what I didn't mention. I just had this weird idea a couple days ago, and I haven't been able to actually sit down and write it out. But I had this weird idea for a movie, which for the time being, I'm just gonna title it 90s Nostalgia Overload, because I'm just combining a lot of my favorite 90s cartoons from my childhood, like Street Sharks, Biker Mice from Mars, the Mighty Ducks animated series, and Gargoyles. And just kind of throwing them all into one universe, and it's kind of the typical bullshit where they're like, whoa, look at that freak, hey, look at you, freak, and they're fighting each other, then they realize, holy shit, we all have to band together to save the world, kind of thing. It's a very typical bullshit storyline, but just because of how much I love the characters, it's fun to play with them, and it's fun to write this out and play it, see how it all plays out and stuff. And also Ninja Turtles, I think, I didn't want to mention them because in the 90s, that's the only time they won a cartoon. They were a cartoon in the 80s, live action in the 90s, went back to cartoon in the 2000s, and then just now they have one cartoon out, and before that they had another cartoon. They've got the live action ones too, but I'm trying to pretend those don't exist because they suck. Sorry, Michael Bay, you're just not that good. Anyways, fucking shit, it's 1:30. This video really is a goddamn hour. Well, I'm gonna turn this off. I'm gonna turn on the AC, which my bills, they've been higher. It boggles my mind that there are any Texas politicians who can actually argue against climate change, because Right now, we're in the hundreds every single day, and at night, if we're lucky, it gets below 80. If we're lucky. But anyways, I've also discovered that my AC has a timer, and I'm like, damn, I could have been using that shit. Like, yeah, I can set it on a timer so that it'll turn on at a specific time or what. Well, not a specific time, but like I have to set it. It's like, oh, I'll know that it usually starts getting hot around 11:30. It's 8 o'clock right now, so put it at 3.5 hours, and then as soon as the clock hits 11:30, it turns on. Plus, this way I won't accidentally forget to turn it off when I leave the house. Cause set a timer so okay, 2 hours from now it turns off, knowing that I'm gonna leave the house in like an hour and a half to 2 hours, and so if I do happen to forget that day, it won't be running for 12 hours. It'll just be running for 20 more minutes. But anyways, I've taken up too much of your time. And actually, did I mention that? I'm wondering if I feel like I had to have mentioned that because that was a huge discovery. Anyways, fuck it. I'm turning all of this off. Bye. And might see you next week, maybe.